thought I'd do is I want to discuss. Did I end up calling this desire? I think I called it desire. I'm not sure if I call it. But I can't remember. And I think one of the things that's happening across the world right now is there are so many things that have happened that have changed that are so dramatically extreme in their presentation, and because I feel like we were lulled into almost like a slumber to do with technology, and we got so used to technology just being, this is the new technology, this is the new and that for decades, 50, 60, 70 years really, to do with the things that surround us now are technological wonders, which is what I would describe as. But what we haven't caught up with is really like a proper discussion about what's going on and what has been affected by things that have just been recklessly unleashed on the world. And I think one of the best places to start is something like OnlyFans. It should be known that if a woman attempted to participate in something, and look, I have to get to a weird, but if a common woman, because there were exceptions in certain, royal household, but that's kind of older. That a lot of that. Let's just focus on the last 100 years, and let's go even less. Let's look at like 60 years, 50 years ago. If a woman was participating in 1% of, say, the what would have been described as debaucherous. That sounds wrong. I don't know. The uncivil behaviour of, say, someone like Bonnie Blue, they would have been placed in an asylum. So we have millions of individuals. Let's just say the Commonwealth. We have millions of individuals in the Commonwealth who have been, in my opinion, imprisoned by a ideology, and in a lot of cases a pharmaceutical solution and imprisonment, and kind of lifelong discrimination, lifelong uphill battle against reclaiming their own personhood. This exists. And then we have Bonnie Blue and people going on OnlyFans. Now, and let's just say like this, that is the feminine. Let's just not acknowledge men for the moment. We're all quite used to that, so we'll just continue that trend. So this is just female victims on a spectrum between Bonnie Blue, who could claim that she's being discriminated against and hated on, all these things, by enacting her free will, and the woman who's been imprisoned, most likely initiated by her family or her partner, her husband, say 60, 50, 60, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, lifelong imprisonment in a pharmaceutical, psychiatric ideology. Now, that is a fucking wide landscape to be holding in one view, under one attempted you know, oversight coming from what we would call as the state, wherever it is. If you're in the UK or you're in Australia or you're in Soviet Union or you're in communist China, because it's completely it's like it's hypocrisy manifest. It's hypocrisy civil engineering at this scale. We have an entire multiple generations that have consumed content produced and encouraged by a kind of feminist movement that would have led still existing, still imprisoned, still medically treated individuals into that system. And so I can't see how, by the fact that this is, and this is being, so the medical treatment of the individuals from the previous generation are still being subsidized. These people are still being, the psychiatrists, the pharmacists, the doctors, all these things are still being subsidized to maintain the medical treatment of like an industry. And then kind of the media to not allowing criticism of, and also the pornography industry, that is OnlyFans. And I believe that the true revelation, once you view these two things, is that this has always been a system of abuse. It's just that it's changed from a socially integrated pharmaceutical and professional, medical, so I've kind of throw up into literally like sex trafficking. And then I basically will not believe that they haven't been closely associated the whole time. Okay, so say there was a female parliament. That's what I'd expect to be being discussed within the female parliament. Now, from the male parliament, I guess from my point of view, as a father of, it's either 3 or 5. It's complicated because again, there's been this kind of war going on between any woman that I am with and all the other ones that I've been with, in a weird passive aggressive, strange thing. But basically my concerns are that all the children are safe and well educated and well adapted to be prepared to confront what is clearly an out of control communist socialist system, and be self-reliant, self-sufficient, and have good exposure to what I have gleaned to be the most appropriate, all that father stuff. And then I guess I've been guilted and shamed and all these other things into not freely being able to speak about my desires, if I had desires, while I'm surrounded by fucking monkeys in cages, either masturbating. And I guess this is my first step into like talking openly about desires and like things, things that could perhaps begin to address these things. So obviously the fact that there is a multi-trillion-dollar industry of online digital prostitution and pornography and sex trafficking and all this. So obviously men around the world have a desire for women, and I'm confident enough to say that desire doesn't end at one woman or a wife. and so it is fulfilled by this thing. And I'm now pretty confident in saying that my manifestation over the last year as a female or as a feminine presenting person was a directly necessary strategical decision to occupy the part of my brain that is concerned with the seduction of multiple women. And so I feel like we're very pent up, and that there is an industry that used to benefit from the pent up, like, and it's not even really. It's like, okay, so did psychiatrists en masse used to do the procedure of relieving hysteria of their patients by fingering them, and more than likely fucking them? Yes. And then they were paid for treatment. They were paid to prescribe medication. They were paid to adjudicate matters of this person's sanity. Now frowned upon, frowned upon. And so it appears that we're in a transition time, kind of a hand-in-hand, like, backroom deal between the psychiatrist, pharmaceutical, government, socialized welfare and healthcare and all this system, to a digital online peep show economy, and that is taking place in plain sight. Yet, if I as an Australian man who has desires, who is kind of burnt out and worn out from the constant little digital tramps appearing, and it's like, I'm just like, what is this? What is going on? But if I, as an Australian man or an Englishman or a Frenchman, whatever, or a Scotsman, whatever I am, if I do something like my current girlfriend, which I just love saying now, I think that's maybe another shirt I'm going to make, and maybe it'd be hilarious if it's a little crop top that says my current girlfriend thinks that I'm gay, or I don't know, something like that. But just, I love that, my current girlfriend. I think it's the ultimate. That's what we've got. Men have got that phrase, my current girlfriend, and women have got fucking strange little simp armies and cash flow from a thing that would have ended them in an asylum. And there is a big fucking sloshy mess in the middle. And so, say my current girlfriend, who just happens, I've often and always kind of had a desire for older women. If you've seen that movie Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman, it's like, I'm not completely sure whether that movie was based on me, but my ego, my expanded ego, that once I come back to the masculine. And so it's basically, it's like, if I'm in the feminine, I'm experimenting in some type of self-driven, discovery of self-love, is what women are like. I'm kind of like, no, I don't even need women. I've got to, and that's real. Although then I have to present as a woman, and then you're into the same kind of industry, which, like, you start hormones and drugs and plastic surgery and high heel companies and lingerie and cosmetics, and that's commitment and a half. But if I come back to the masculine, it immediately means that I'm now concentrating on getting pussy, which I couldn't have thought this battle, this war, if I was still hyper concerned with just getting pussy all the time. And most people that know me, most of my ex-girlfriends, most people that I've ever encountered, like, they will have some awareness that a large portion of my fucking brain, from the majority of my adult life, has been concerned with getting pussy. And because of my experiences, it's like the digital thing. I kid you not, I started watching trans porn, and now I can't really watch normal porn anymore. I can't watch young women doing these things. I like it, but it's like corrupted in some way, and I'm like, ugh. It actually repulses me. I get kind of it's not because I'm gay, and it's not because I now only am desiring trans women. It's because I realise that it's a prison and it's a scam and it's a fucking nightmare for everyone involved, for the men, for the women, for everything, and it's a complete fucking hypocritical, delusionary fucking crime, mass fucking global international crime, being promoted and encouraged by our politicians that are now hopefully running and hiding and fleeing en masse. But the problem I have is that I've always had solutions for these types of desires. And I actually think a lot of these solutions are kind of old. They're old solutions. We've got to remember we did not have computers not that long ago. And so we definitely, not that long ago, the height of pornography was a hand-sketched fucking drawing with a bit of boob or an ankle showing. And that was there. But the idea that people were completely and stringently, what's the word? Complying with monogamy is a delusion. And in fact, these pornography solutions and then all these sex fucking digital has lowered has lifted the level of monogamy because it's like methadone. So say in the words of the predatory psychiatric pharmaceutical industry, this attempt to put a lasso around my neck, they might have said you're a sex addict. It's like, no, I'm a human fucking man with testosterone, despite what some of you might have thought if you've been watching the last year. I'm a human, in the male species, human species, male, whatever. I'm very concerned with sex and the way it manifests if I'm in a monogamous relationship is I just get completely sick of that monogamous relationship to a level that is ridiculous. Because it is. That's a lie as well. That's an entrapment by women, in my opinion. It's like, it might be wonderful, it might do all these good things, but I can't reach a consensus because the materialist world and the commercialized world and the fucking debt-filled world, the online point, it's like that doesn't align with my base instincts. And so I'm never going to come to consensus with a woman who's empowered within that thing. Never, because they want to make a compromise. It's like, well, you need to throw 99% of everything you've ever thought, done, and fucking whatever, and do something completely different. And I don't want to participate in any of that fucking nonsense. And I want to fuck your sister. And that just seems like women have been trained and persuaded that that's a bad thing, and that the solution of the monopoly fucking board, perpetual motion, prostitution, sex trafficking solution seems to have really got inside their consciousness, and they're full steam ahead on that strategy. And if I mention things like, hey, maybe your sister and you could live together. Maybe your single sister who's also older, could live, and then there's some type of because it's like a family thing. Otherwise, I'm going to leave and you'll just perpetually be, or it's like, or not, or I'll just go fuck someone else's sister and, continue the cycle of constantly trying to build a harem that isn't digital. And this is so right now we have millions of happy marriages around the world. Millions of happy marriages around the world. As long as the out of control industrial scale digital sex slavery, sex trafficking economy and industry is present in the room. And this is being held as well as the relevant argument. This is where I wish I had enough preparation, to say my current girlfriend was watching this, right? And this would be like this if I was Jerry Springer. This would be so. But I haven't done this. This is just conceptual. And if either of them watch it, it's going to be known. And this is what I would have done if there was back in the old days when I would drink. I would have already done this. We've already done it for everyone. So now that I don't drink, I have to come up with these ingenious solutions. But basically, if I'd done all this preparation, all these things, and I'd prearranged all this stuff, all this whatever, I'd now I'd just have her sister just walk past the door. And that's like just a priming. It's like, hey, maybe your sister could just walk past the door. Has anyone upset about that? Because I feel less weird about saying, and Nicole Kidman seems to agree with me, and because at the moment it's either this current set of sisters or perhaps Nicole, and I'm sorry I forgot your sister's name, which I feel terrible about, but you probably expected half as much. Kidman. Anyway, or maybe it could be them. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, but I feel less weird whether it was my current girlfriend and her sister in this room with me, or whether it's Nicole Kidman and her sister in this room or in their room. I probably go, they've probably got a slightly nicer room, but I don't judge, and I'm not fickle like that. I feel less weird about presenting that publicly than I would feel about, my happy marriage with a industrial scale socialist drug-fueled fucking sex slavery, digital sex slavery, sex trafficking fucking industry in the room. I feel way weirder about that. I think it was a little bit better, but still grotty, when it was this kind of like little cottage industry in California with VHS tapes, which was how I first experienced porn. Was my friend's parents had a VHS tape at the top of their wardrobe. Seems to be always the place, because my current girlfriend has a box of fucking. No, I won't tell you that. You don't. A gentleman never discloses these things like that, but that was a million times better than this, and that was already like taboo within marriages. And it seems like it's like there's been a tsunami around the fucking world. And luckily I had one of these, which has served me well. And like Mary Poppins, I've been all right now. I'm like floating back down again from that tsunami. It's just pornography everywhere. And so every happy marriage is now just inundated and flooded. Like, we've actually got floods in the country as well. But so it's a really great time to kind of take the literal manifestation of a flood or a bushfire or things like these natural disasters, which are caused by God, and then compare them to like the man-made disaster of creating a fucking industrial scale digital sex, slavery, sex trafficking industry in a saturated, which means wet, in a saturated marketplace. It's now going to be replaced with digitally created artificial intelligent thing. But even that's even weirder. Like, oh, I've got my happy marriage and I've just got this industrial scale fucking, digital delusionary fucking pornography creating machine. God didn't fucking think that I was going to deal with that. And I feel I'm in a negotiation with God. I'm like, God, would you prefer me have my current girlfriend and her sister in this bed? Or would you prefer I have some type of industrial polluting fucking, world destroying fucking digital solution to my desires? And I think at that stage, God's like, you go, son. You go. As long as it's all consensual, as long as it's all above board. And like, it doesn't have to take place concurrently. I kind of like a little mix and match, like the current shared parenting rosters that people have. It's like there could be like a little like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like that could work, and then we could maintain a kind of patriarchal presence. We could have a kind of unity between families, and got like an establishment of a very English kind of English, like stable, religiously aligned solution rather than a socialist fucking, industrial solution that really does seem like, I mean, if I had to do an image of, say it was men that were being ushered into this, it'd be basically, if you imagine a giant wood chipper, and it says at the beginning of it, like, so they take it to a big hill, like you go to Kings Park, right? Giant fucking slide, like water slide into and because that would work, like, but you can imagine, I'm actually pretty sure that the current Labor Party is actually trying to build a water park or something, or with a big slide. So imagine to put an analogy that might sit, right at the appropriate level of what we should describe as this digital industrial pornography, prostitution, sex slavery paradigm, is it's a free water slide from Kings Park into Swan River, but at the bottom of the water slide, when you hit, terminal velocity, you hit the most high speed of the entire slide, there's just a wood chipper. And so all you see at the top is young boys and girls getting in the top, and at the bottom you just see, right? And then that would feed the fish, and then you have a bunch of old men just fishing, and they're like, "Oh, fishing's never been this fucking good before, Now, back in the day, there was no fish. There was no fish because everyone was driving in speedboats. But now that we've got this fucking digital sex slavery solution, I'm catching so many fish in the Swan River. It's like the old days. If you wait till the fucking water just lands, all that mud, all that, we just call it chum. We call it chum. When you wait for the chum to land in the water, the fish rise, and I get my fly right in there, like that, and I'm going to catch a fish. And I'll take it home to the missus, And that's what, like, I don't know what all these boys are doing. If you can't deal with just one woman, like, and the fishing, like Jesus said, Jesus be saying that, He said, you only have one woman, and you're allowed to go fishing all you like, and that's all you're allowed to do. And, like, now there's no need for another woman, because I've got a little fun, right? I get my little fun, and it just fucking brings you up. I have a little Roger, I have a little fucking like that, and all are gone, all the desires are gone. I spend the rest of my time fishing here, down by the river. Wonderful. And thank you to the Australian Labor Party for putting that fucking slide there, I don't know what happens up at Kings Park. I don't know what, because the king, the king, Roger Cook, the king of Western Australia, he's the saviour. He's the saviour of the Western Australian Irish people, because the fishing's never been so good. Our monogamous Catholic, marriages has never been so good. And the kids, they've got a fucking wonderful slide to slide down. What could be better? Top of the morning to you. It's so good to live the life of Riley. Don't you agree? To be sure, to be sure.